um, there's going to be a shutdown.
Okay.
Oh, there we are.
I
We're
have-
happening now. Okay, so we're live. Kara had already
Okay.
done it.
Okay, I see Mike Hart's up on my screen, but he looks to be muted. Maybe he's just waiting for 5:15.
He said he'd be back. He said he'd be back in
Ah.
a few minutes.
Okay, I have a question for you in regards to the action items on tonight's agenda for
Uh-huh.
the budget amendments. Do we need a?
Excuse me just a
voice-
second.
Okay,
Yeah, Kathleen? And Facebook. Yeah. I know.
Apparently getting YouTube and Facebook up is complicated.
Yeah.
hi. You can come in. Well, it is a little bit different, but you can come in. Different is okay, but I can see Patrick and Cindy. And when other people roll in, I would imagine that other people will pop in. So far, I have not been booted out. Okay, thank you. That was Rick.
Yeah.
Helping me with Zoom.
Well, I was just telling Kathleen I couldn't see anybody's pictures. And then I realized, oh, that's because the Zoom window's over here.
You know, it's so strange because Patrick, your picture is huge. And then Cindy and Kathleen and my picture are small. And not only do I have a large picture of you, but I have a small picture of you. And I have a notice that says live on custom live streaming service, which I don't remember having before.
Yeah, that should be on everybody. It's just to let you know that this is
Okay.
being live streamed.
Okay. So we'll see whoever rolls in. So my question is on this budget amendment action item that we have on here.
Yes.
Are we going to need a verbal roll call for that? So we can, I want to add that to my notes. Do you think we
Yeah,
should?
I think we had decided we were going to be doing that.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
For,
So we just call a roll just because it's a virtual meeting.
okay.
yeah, that was my understanding, that anything that required, any action items would require a roll call.
Okay, so, but Cindy, you're gonna take the attendance, right, for via roll call, and then we would
Right.
have Aaron, and then we would have Aaron do the roll call vote for the budget amendments?
And that's up to you, Joan. I will say Erin may not be able to make it tonight. Unfortunately, her bird is had to be taken to the pet hospital.
Oh, okay. Well, so somebody other than me, and I guess Cindy, if you're okay with that, would you do
Yeah,
the roll call? I don't think should I do the roll call? I don't think so.
No, I'm happy to
Okay.
do that, Joan. That's fine.
Okay, okay. So it shouldn't be that long of a meeting, and then, Patrick, is everybody else going to come as far as you know?
I heard from Edmund. Michael will be here. I don't think I've heard from too many other people. We have a
I'm
new
here.
board member.
There's Dorothy.
Oh,
Dorothy,
hi, Dorothy.
Dorothy, where are you?
Can you, hold on, can you hear me? I mean,
Mhm. And Ms. Zerwes was just appointed on Monday night.
hello, can you see me?
Oh,
Hi.
there you
Hi, Dorothy.
are.
Hi, Dorothy.
Hey, hi, Kathleen.
Hey.
Hi,
Hey,
Michael.
Mike.
Hi.
And we have a new board member, Patrick?
Yes. Ms. Zerwes was appointed on Monday night, has not been sworn in yet, so can't officially vote tonight, but she is
Okay.
here tonight.
Can we see her?
And
I'm working on it.
great.
Well,
And do you prefer Cindy or
understand.
Cynthia?
Cindy, please.
Great.
Cindy? Okay.
Yes. Welcome to all of you.
and is Zerwis how your name's pronounced?
Yes. Opposite
Okay.
of the way it looks.
there you go.
Hi,
Hello.
there you are.
I just had to
Welcome.
push a button.
There you go.
Hi, how are you?
Fine,
Welcome.
thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Welcome to the board. My
Thank you.
Zoom is acting interesting as usual. Dorothy, I have lost your picture. I don't know where it went. There she is.
He's back. Here I am.
Hey, Edmund,
Hey there, you haven't lost mine. Thank you.
why are you carrying your computer around?
What?
Why are you carrying your computer around?
Oh, I'm on my Android, my smartphone
Ah.
phone.
Okay.
So that's where I reside.
Cindy, meet Edmund. Edmund, meet Cindy. She is our new board member. She's going, she hasn't been sworn in yet, but she is going to be on our library board. So say hi.
I see Patrick. Okay. Hi,
Yeah.
Cindy.
Hi.
There she is.
Let's see. Come on now. There. I got you now.
And we are live streaming now.
Okay.
And I see Cynthia as well.
Um,
So I have a
so it's
Cynthia
me.
and a Cindy. I know Cindy Diekman. There's another Cindy. Gotcha. Very good. Would have kept me in confusion for the first 20 minutes, I think.
We may not have a quorum yet. We have Mike, Edmund, Dorothy.
Hey, Dorothy.
And Cindy is not
Hey,
able to vote
Edmund.
yet.
How are you?
We may
Oh,
not have
doing
a
pretty well.
quorum yet.
Doing well. This is my third Zoom and I have one other one at 7 o'clock. So this one's
Yes, girl.
a packed day,
Mhm.
Wow.
as plenty of you have, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we
We
did
do
our,
a lot of our stuff on Teams.
Yeah, I do a lot on Teams too, which is
Do you?
really easy. Yes, all of my meetings are on Teams.
Huh. Huh. It's a
Yeah,
new
that's
one.
that's the way we've been doing ours.
Is it any better? Which do you prefer? Teams or Zoom?
I prefer Teams better than Zoom
Why?
because sometimes the audio in Zoom doesn't work, well. So
Yeah, I agree.
sometimes,
My Zoom is much more problematic than Teams is.
but
Okay.
well,
Is that TEAMS?
Teams is cool.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mhm. It's by Microsoft. So,
Okay.
but
MST.
Yeah, you can use it video and audio, or type.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Patrick, I don't think we have a quorum yet, do we?
Yeah, not yet.
Okay, do we
You're
know
fine.
where, Latrice, do we know if Latrice is joining us?
I have not heard from her. I'll text her now.
All right,
And we can't count Cindy yet.
no,
We could swear her in and then she could count, but we couldn't swear her in.
We don't have that
Yeah.
power.
right.
And what about Helen? Do you want me to reach out to Helen?
Sure.
All right,
Cindy, are you on any other boards for the city?
I am not. If you're talking
Ah.
to me, it's
Yeah.
gonna get a little confusing with two Cindy's.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Perpetual confusion for me anyway. That's who it is. So had you ever thought of being on a board before?
I've served on school and church boards, but
Oh,
not municipal boards.
Okay. Yeah, so you're not really a rookie. You've done this before.
I'm a rookie to this.
I seem to
Boy.
recall Helen saying she was going to be here in an email.
Oh, great.
Okay,
Maybe I'm imagining that. I don't know.
I sent her a text.
What about Gerald, Patrick?
I have not heard from Gerald, I don't think.
I don't think I have a cell number for Gerald, do we? No, not on my list.
You had heard from Helen, but not about the board meeting.
Okay, I
I'm
sent her
here.
a text.
Oh,
Oh, hi,
hello.
Helen.
Oh, there she is.
Hello,
Oh,
Helen.
there she is. Hey, Helen.
Hey. Yeah.
Oh, I just have 5:15. I'm sorry.
Well, you're here. That's good.
We're right,
That's
yeah.
what we want. Mm.
Oh, my-
Helen, you can
Lighting.
disregard my text.
okay.
You guys want me to bore you to tears with pictures of my grandchildren? Kidding, kidding.
Oh, Joan, I owe you some pictures from the Halloween get together that we had
Oh.
outside.
Yeah, if you took them, send them. It
Yeah.
wasn't quite
I
the
have-
party we planned, but it was the one we were,
Well, it turned out nicely, very, very nicely. It was a pleasant evening,
It was.
perfect evening, actually.
yeah,
And
the weather
Yeah.
was great.
we had plenty of social distancing and lots and
Yeah.
lots of masking. I was so impressed with the people who were from your neighborhood that just about every single one of them was masked
Yeah,
up.
I have great neighbors. I really am very, very lucky. I have great neighbors.
Even Krista, huh?
I'm on this board because of her.
Yeah.
You're not the only one in that club.
So Patrick, are we good now?
You have a quorum. You can call the
Okay.
meeting to order.
Okay, so we're gonna start this meeting. Cindy, are you ready? Cindy, are you ready? Cindy at the library.
Yes.
It is Wednesday, November 11th at 2020 at 5:19. And we're gonna start the board meeting. And Cindy is gonna do a roll call attendance.
Okay, Edmund Acosta,
Here.
Dorothy Davis,
Here?
Aaron Ginsberg, Joan Greco Cohen,
Here,
Michael Hart,
Here.
Latrice Johnson, Gerald Lander, Helen Nelling,
Here.
and Cindy Zerwis.
Here.
okay. Um,
And Patrick.
Did
Wall.
everybody
sorry.
get, who did I miss?
No,
We're just doing the staff. So Patrick Wall,
Okay,
Kathleen,
Sorry, Kathleen Gallagher.
Cindy Dykeman.
sorry, I forgot the staff. They have to be on there as well. Did everybody get a chance to review the minutes that Patrick sent in our
Yes.
attachment?
I move we accept the minutes of the
I second.
October meeting.
Okay, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, so we'll accept those minutes. Patrick, do you have any correspondence?
we received, the donations I mentioned in the board,
Mhm.
board report. The checks from the state for state aid, which was unexpected, athletes and entertainers tax, and one grant payment. Today we received it was a bill from Bradford Systems for the shelving, but I received an email today indicating that the shelving would be here at the end of December or early in January.
Great.
Okay. I guess our council member is not here, so we don't have a council liaison report tonight. Patrick, do you have a librarian's report? I'm sure you do.
Yes, you know, and then do you want to move ahead with the consent agenda? Is there anything that any board members would like to me to talk about further?
We can. Yeah, we can if you want to jump ahead. Is there anything that anybody wants to pull out of the consent agenda and discuss?
Not here.
No.
So do we need a motion to accept that, Patrick, or we're just
Yes.
good with it? Okay.
So move.
I
Second.
move a consent agenda. Alan,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
no.
Okay, so we're going to accept the consent agenda. There was nothing that anyone needed to discuss. Excuse the top of my head, I'm writing. So Patrick, do you want to combine librarian's report with the discussion items?
Sure. You know, the discussion items mostly have to do with the building renovation. As I said, the high density storage shelving has been ordered and should be here by the end of December or early in January. I think they're asking for a third of the price down, which is approximately $20,000. We got that bill. We're in discussion with Bond. We had hoped to talk to them yesterday or today about the doors, but events have sort of overtaken us with you know, having to send a lot of staff home to get tested. So we'll be talking to them soon about that. Mornet's completed upgrading our fiber connection to the building. So we now have 250 megabits per second coming in. We're waiting for the firewall. Right now, our firewall allows a throughput of about 80 megabits per second. So, you know, we can't take full advantage of that until the firewall is installed. Though my understanding is Mornet has done all the settings we need to do on that, and it should be a simple swapping out and plugging the new one in when it gets here. With you know, the knowledge that almost every sort of tech upgrade involves some surprises. We're also we've got the switches in which have a higher throughput, so we'll have those. Bill will be installing those as well. This is part of the DED CARES grant to allow us to have a faster speed. We're still waiting on the newer Wi-Fi antennas. So then it'll allow us to get, you know, a better signal out to the parking lot. You know, even if we do have to go back to being totally closed again, depending on the county's order, people will still be able to get Wi-Fi here.
Okay.
And then talked again to Public Works just to make sure that we're still okay to move ahead with, you know, moving some of the collection over to the old Trinity building. As we get ready to move. Are there any questions about that right now? I mean, I think what we're going to be doing in the future is, you know, we still haven't heard back from the people we had talked to back in March about the vacant storefront over the Schnucks Plaza, potentially using that as a library location. So I'll be reaching out to them some more, you know, keep leaving messages. I guess just like everybody else, they're not in the office as much as they were, but also looking at a couple other locations then. And in the hope that everything goes ahead as normal, that revenue comes in as we hoped it would, and that, you know, we can go ahead with the project starting early next year.
Cindy, the new board member, do you need kind of an update on what Patrick is talking about? I know you, I'm not sure, you know,
We-
we passed this. Go ahead, Patrick.
I was just gonna say, Cindy and I have not talked at all. We just communicated by email briefly today. So,
Do
probably a
you want
lot
to
of,
give just a really quick overview of what, I mean, with us passing the tax increase and the building, just a real quick overview so she's not unfamiliar with the issues with the doors and I know we can't do the bathrooms yet, but what our kind of our schedule is.
sure.
May I interrupt and say, I did have time when I came home from my volunteer activity this afternoon to read through the minutes from the last meeting. So if you could just give me the timelines for the renovation, I don't want to delay others, but just that part would be helpful. Thank you.
Patrick, if
You
you
know
could do
what?
that would be great.
Yeah, so in April of 2019, the citizens of University City approved a tax increase. As the pandemic unfolded in March of this year, the architects Bond and Associates had completed schematic design for the building renovation plans, had come up with a final cost analysis estimate for the board. It was slightly higher than we had wanted, so we were sitting down and we were due to sit down with the board to sort of see if we could trim that out a little bit. And then go forward with construction documents and doing the certificates of participation, the bonds to go ahead with the renovation. I think the day before we shut down, I met with one of the representatives from Gilmore and Bell and talked to Stiefel, and they said that, you know, at that time, everyone was pulling their bonds because of the pandemic. And we've just been on hold since then.
I see. Thank you.
And then we're just starting at a piecemeal with, you know, one of the doors has completely failed in a sort of spectacular fashion where the doors, as the doors would close, it would complete the circuit and spark. So we
Oh,
basically
dear.
pulled all the power from that.
Good plan.
Yeah, and the thing, and I know you've been to the library before. Our bathrooms on the first floor are our least popular attraction. The one thing that everybody has asked us to fix. So we were thinking we could go ahead and just do those while we were in a sort of a, you know, a semi, a limited capacity, operating a limited capacity. But it turns out that the bathrooms contain both the air return for the entire first floor and the electrical panel that controls everything in the building. So in order to change the bathrooms, we have to
Close
do
the building.
Yeah, and we're going to replace the entire electrical system and the entire HVAC once we get closed and do everything.
Yes, I remember the outline from 2019.
Yeah. So that is
Patrick?
in a nutshell.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, and,
Evan?
Cindy, do you
what
like
would-
Cindy or
What
Cynthia?
would trigger the reopening of the library and the restart of the renovation?
So what we had talked about was waiting until we were sure that the revenue collections were going to be such that the repayment we would have to do on a yearly basis, you know, wouldn't be coming out of what we had hoped to be our operating budget. We have budgeted about $500,000 a year to repay the issued bonds. We kind of wanted to see this first year with the pandemic if revenue collections were going to be such that that wouldn't, you know, cause us to have to cut services.
Patrick,
Yes, Helen?
in addition to that, of course, we have to get permission from the county to, you know, like any other business, to open. And
Yeah, we're you know, it's such with, as long as we're keeping it at under I think that they're saying 25% of building capacity, which you know, since we don't have a fire marshal's number on that, we'd be going by square footage, and it's a really high number. We've not arbitrarily, we set it lower where we think it's sort of the size of a crowd we can keep an eye on and make sure everybody's following the mask mandate, not staying in the library a long period of time. Yeah, so, but I mean, I think we could go ahead with construction from that angle and get that done. And, it'd be great if we could get construction done while the limitations are placed upon us,
Yeah.
Whoa.
But yeah, at the same time, we don't know how it's affecting the economy. So it's sort of it's going to be a gamble. I'm sorry, Helen.
First of all, I wanted to welcome Cynthia to the board, and I wanted to ask her if she likes Cynthia or Cindy or
Cindy, please.
Cindy. Okay.
Yes.
And just a little tag on to the bathroom issue, because it's such a big one. What Patrick is going to do, though, is put some signage up that says, "We haven't forgotten that you use bathrooms."
Yeah.
Stay
Yeah,
tuned.
we did get we got the website done, but we didn't get the signs done. You're correct. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, gentle reminder.
Yeah.
And along in
Well,
this.
And Patrick, to your point, we won't know until after the end of the year, right? What the revenue numbers are?
That's true. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And even then we'll of course, as we were always going to be doing, we'll be speculating on the next 19 years after that.
Okay.
Or 24
Okay.
years, depending on the terms of the bond.
And Cindy, it's been helpful to me to remember that until the bond was passed, we had been operating on a budget, annual budget of about 1.5 or 1.6 million dollars. And
Yes.
with the additional bond revenue, bond issue revenue, we'll have an extra $1 million, $900,000 to $1 million extra dollars a year.
Thank you.
And about half of that will be going toward paying off for about 20 years. Every year we'll be paying off about $500,000 to finance the loan that we'll be getting to do the construction in the next, hopefully 2 years, within the next 2 years. So our extra operating amount of revenue is going to be about almost $500,000 a year.
Great. Thank you for that information.
Okay.
Does anybody have any other questions for Patrick on the building issues that we've got kind of pending?
No.
Okay. So the only action item that we have is the addition. Oh, Cindy, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Before we move to action item, I wanted to go back. Cindy, I'm the pain in the butt on the board. Just so you know. I wanted to go back and ask Patrick how much trouble it would be. I love the circulation report, but how much trouble would it be to do a year, like if a year over year comparison, like,
Sure.
July 2019, July or August 2019, that would be meaningful to me if it's not too much trouble.
No, none at all. We used to do it that way, and just I think probably with the pandemic, it was just too depressing. So we'll go back to doing that.
Okay. Well,
Thanks,
if you
Helen.
want to just sneak that data to me separately so that everybody doesn't get depressed.
No, we'll do that, and we're due to have at the next board meeting. I'll have the yearly statistical report,
Okay,
which
great.
shows last year's
Yeah.
numbers and this year's numbers for just about everything.
Thank you. Sorry, Joan.
No. feel free to jump in. It's kind of difficult on Zoom you end up actually kind of stepping over everybody. Is there anything else? Anybody feel free to jump in. If there's something you want help with or want to know about. Patrick?
And then I just have an addendum. Late today, we got a request from Kristen Sorth at the St. Louis County Library to have a meeting indicating that, based on Mr. Page's statements earlier in the week, and some other, information that's been received, that there's probably going to be a shutdown again. And that prompted me to send out, that we might need to have an emergency meeting. But reviewing the documents that we had approved back in March, I don't think that'll be necessary. I can share that with you guys if you want.
Patrick, you said it was who at St. Louis County Library? Who is?
Kristen Swarth is the
Sam
director
Page.
there. We
Is the
met with Kristen Swarth, and we were talking about what Sam Page had said.
Okay.
And we would have we have the alternative to stay open?
It depends on the language of the
shutdown.
the mandate.
Okay.
Do we
All right.
know when do we know when they're going to come out with this?
We don't.
Okay.
Stand by.
Joan, I get
Yes.
on the weekly email that Sam sends out, and earlier this week he sent one out that said in 2 weeks. And it was kind of worded like, if you kids don't bring your grades up, I'm taking the
Exactly.
cards away.
Okay.
So the mandate's going to come out in 2 weeks?
Yeah, he's going to review the situation in 2 weeks to see if he needs to have stricter guidelines, more shutting and et cetera into about 2
Okay.
weeks.
Okay.
Okay, so Patrick, we have a twofold issue then, right? We have library employees who are out for COVID testing. And if there are issues with library employees with COVID testing, that may close the library prior to whatever
Yes.
agenda Sam Page has, right?
Yeah, Kathleen and I are going over the schedule. It's possible we'll have to amend the hours on Friday and possibly not open on Saturday because it was the entire Saturday crew that's now out for testing.
Okay.
So
Based on what we did in March,
Mhm.
is your thought that you're going to go to keep limited staff in the library and do curbside pickup only and close the building? Or are you considering having to close the library completely?
Again, depending on, if for Mr. Page's order, we'll have to wait and see what he says. There was a lot of speculation that libraries would be considered non-essential services, and that one of the things the order might seek to do is limit the number of people in a workplace. So we would effectively be doing, virtual programs, more online stuff, but not have people in the building, which would effectively close us down.
Close us down to even curbside pickup.
Even curbside pickup. The thought was that part of the order may be aimed at not encouraging people to come out of their houses to come here to do curbside, and not encouraging staff to come out of their houses to come here to work. Also speculation that it would be for a couple of weeks, perhaps through Christmas or New Year's.
Okay, so are you thinking, given what we did back in March, would you need a special meeting if it turns out that we do have to close the library down?
You know what, I've been trying to bring up the policy, which I can clearly see on my screen, but I can't, bring
we
up my
can't
shared
see it.
screen. And it might be right behind this. All right, it is. There it is. Okay, so here it is, the personnel policy. The library director shall determine when it's necessary to close the library during any such emergency. And what I was thinking that we would have to have a meeting for, I remember that you guys had given me the authority to close the library down during an emergency. But you'd also given me permission to pay the staff at their regular rate for up to a 30-day period. So I think if the board is okay with just going forward with that, should the mandate come down and it's necessary to close the library, we could just deal with it at the next regular meeting. Unless the board wants to.
I think
Grab
that
a calendar.
we just need to, you just need to let us know.
Oh, definitely.
How that's going to happen and how long,
Yeah.
You expect it to go on, et cetera.
So 2 weeks from now puts us to right before Thanksgiving. And
Yeah.
then our next board meeting will be December the 8th.
Mm-hmm.
So I would get, Patrick, what are your holiday hours normally over the Thanksgiving holidays? Would you
We'd be closed Thanksgiving and the Friday after Thanksgiving.
Okay, okay. Is this something you need us to vote on, or what do you want?
Looking at the way it is now, I think if the board doesn't have any objection, I could just implement this as need be with the authority you've already given me.
And just notify us on an email that this is what you're going to do?
Yeah, we could certainly meet and talk about it if the board wanted to do that, or I just keep in contact by email about that.
Okay, is there any, what's everybody's
good.
kind of general opinion here?
I think
Yes.
that's fine. We gave him, that's why we gave him the authority.
You're right.
Okay,
You're right, Helen.
Yeah, didn't
Okay.
think we'd be using it 8 months later for the same pandemic, but
Yeah, I would say it just seems, it's a fluid situation. I don't think there's a day that Dr. Sam Page might say, we're definitely going to make an announcement 2 weeks from now. We just set the daily record in the United States for the number of cases. So, it could come down Friday, it's any time. So I guess we just
Okay.
need to be ready, which is what we're doing.
okay.
and then as you were saying earlier too, it's not quite covered in here, but we may have to shut down just if we don't have enough staff.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And when are these test results due back for the people that were on Saturday?
A couple people have test scheduled tomorrow or Friday, and then the 2 to 3 to 4 days, depending on the place. A couple people got in already and got rapid tests. I've talked to the St. Louis County Health Department about this, both to see if we're doing the right thing as far as our staff goes, and to see if we needed to make an announcement to the public. Since all our staff were wearing masks and everyone's practicing good social distancing, nothing really rose to the level of a CDC contact with something where you were exposed to COVID.
Okay.
There's no guarantee that it wasn't passed along, and that's why we're having people go out and get tests. But they did say you'd want to have everybody stay out at least a week, even if they got a negative test, just to make sure. And that'll be, next Monday, then we'd be back, provided everyone gets a negative test, Monday we'd be back to sort of normal. We may still, depending on how things are going then, we may still stay at curbside if it just doesn't seem practical to open at that point.
Okay. Okay, then I think if you just keep us informed on email, and then if you know, it turns out they, you know, shut things down, then they shut things down. I mean, that's completely and totally outside of your control anyway, so.
Yeah, and we've, you know, we're still the only one in the county that's really doing the, you know, letting people in to browse on a limited basis. You know, St. Charles is doing that. Kathleen had mentioned that St. Charles had to close 2 branches.
Earlier this week, you know, the details were sketchy, but it was in its STL today, 2 buildings closed in their system, so.
And then St. Louis County's had 3 different branches where they've had to, you know, send staff out to get tested too, just because someone came in and then found out that they were COVID positive afterward. So it's kind of happening a little more frequently, it seems.
Yeah, and I think given the rise in the number of cases, it's going to happen more and more frequently. So, okay, so I think the board's good with what you're going to do, and we'll just move forward with that. So moving on through our agenda, the one action item that we do have is the budget amendments.
Mm-hmm.
Did everybody, now this is what we talked about at the last meeting, adding on the things to the budget. Did everybody get a chance to look at Patrick's,
Yes.
this? Okay.
Yes.
This is basically the same line items on the expense side, the same line items that were listed in the little chart last time, just without all the ones where there was no change. You know, there's no change to unemployment or the EAP or the you know, the pension payment. Though that one may come up later. But so this would just be
Okay.
why I did want that.
Patrick,
Mhm.
what's do you know what the differential is? Because I can't do this in my head. Of all these, what the expense increases on those line items?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see.
There.
Yeah, I just realized I didn't include that in there. It is it 105?
The net for is something about $5,000 less revenue. The net.
Oh,
after-
not the revenue, the expenses.
Yeah, it's I'm just trying to
Just-
make sure I've got that. I'm looking at the right one here. So it comes out to be 1.505 over 1.478 million. So it's about a 1.79% increase over what we had budgeted last year.
Okay, but what is that in dollars?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like the difference between, you know, 800 and 816, 325, 332.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
It's, $26,486.
26 grand. Okay. Which is almost covered by the
Right, the revenues.
tax that we didn't count on.
Yeah, that is a good point. That's you know, a good break there.
It's overall less than $5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Though we are reducing the miscellaneous revenue because we're not, you know, renting the auditorium. We're not collecting a lot of the revenue from printing, 3D printing, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
Reduced revenue from copies and faxing.
Do we need a motion? Do you need a motion?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, we need a motion, and we're gonna need a roll call vote on it that Cindy at the library is going to do for us.
I make a motion that we approve the amendment to the FY 2021 budget as outlined on the document.
A second.
Okay, Cindy, hit us.
Okay. Edmund Acosta,
Yes.
Dorothy Davis,
Yes. I'm sorry.
Joan Greco Cohen,
Yes,
Michael Hart,
Yes.
Helen Nelling.
Yes.
okay.
Cindy, you forgot Cindy.
I
She
can't vote.
yet.
Oh, she can't vote. Oh,
Huh?
She will get to the next time.
Okay, you don't
Okay.
get paid.
yeah.
Yes, sorry. Okay, president's report. I actually don't have anything to report. I think Patrick's handling and his staff is, as we all think, are doing a phenomenal job. So we're going to move on to committee reports. Edmund, you're on long range planning.
That's correct.
Okay,
We
do you
do-
have anything to report?
Yes. Yes, please.
Oh.
Number one, we will plan to have a long-range planning committee report sometime within the next 2 weeks. Because number two, we're hoping to kick off what is probably going to be something like a 1 or 2 year project. Now, given that we are on hold, and given that we have a 1 to 2 year renovation schedule, still to be determined, we don't need to be in a rush to do the long range planning stuff, because we'd like to have some idea as to how we look at a year out from now. How is it going? What is the status quo for the next couple of years? I do hope to do the early types of visionary work within the next 4 or 5 months. And the first step to that is going to be to try to specify 10, 15, maybe even 20 tracks that we could think of that could help us envision what 5 to 6 years out might look like. One track, for example, could be, what would you envision to be different 5 years out from now with respect to collections? Well, and another track might be, what might be the buildings and grounds 5 to 6 years out from now? Do we want them to be exactly what they are today or 1 year out from now, or do we want them to be something different? This gives us an opportunity to come up with a wish list, which is essentially not budget constrained. We can come up with one of the tracks that you might guess is on my mind is buildings and grounds. And one of the items within buildings and grounds would be sustainment. And on my wish list, I have the idea for a rooftop that has solar panels and maybe even some green space up there. Somebody else would, for a track like collections, would have specific wish list items that could be collected under collections. You could probably come up with a couple of additional tracks, like right now. Does anybody have a track that jumps into their mind? Like IT. Is our IT network, our IT situation going to be the same? Do we want it to be the same as today, 5 to 6 years down the line? Probably not. But what might be the description, the short description of how we envision it 5 to 6 years from now. I can run down a list right now of just a few collections. Community engagement. How would we want community engagement to be different? What services might be the same and might be extremely different 5 years out? What would our financial condition situation might be? What would we want our financial situation to be 5 years out from now? Would we want the same services and programs available to our patrons? Probably. That would, if we could come up with that's what I'd like our committee to work on during the very next meeting that we have. And again, this is just a kickoff. The kickoff would then eventually get out to when we narrow the visionary tracks down to perhaps 5 to 8. We could fill in what are some of the activities, some of the services, some of the actions that would be required in order to accomplish those goals that are up at the highest level. But we'll be able to at least have a set of overlapping, often very overlapping visionary tracks in which we can begin eventually to specify the execution, how to do it. But we don't need to get into that right now. If you had a chance to take a look at the strat plan that was published way back there in December of 2016, and is still our current strat plan, the time span that we were working with then was mainly what would we like to happen within the next year? It wasn't pushing the vision farther out. This is our opportunity to without budget constraints, to come up with grand ideas for a library that's already engaged in its first stage of real expansion. So that's basically the idea. Right now, we're going to start off with schedule a long-range planning committee meeting and start off. So
Do you have that? Do you have a date yet for that long-range?
We do not have a date yet.
Okay.
And Joan, you and I had talked about that, and I was going to get back in touch with Edmund, but then everything just sort of fell apart here.
Yeah.
So I apologize, Edmund.
No, sir.
We had sent out a
Fine.
doodle poll and weren't able to come up with a date where more than
No,
one or two people could meet.
We are fine. We're not under a time schedule. We're not in a rush.
Okay.
And if any of you can come up with additional tracks, I'm sure we have some additional tracks out there.
And I would like to see,
Yes.
like to see a track about the staff's professional development
Yeah.
and
Yes, ma'am.
surrounding and staff size, staff requirements, staff professional development.
Composition of staff.
Yeah.
Sure. You betcha. Great one. So Cindy Diekman, I've written down these and I'll send these out to you. So if you would please include the listing of these in the minutes so that they might remind all the board members you're invited to come up with additional tracks.
Okay.
And additional thoughts any way any
Patrick,
dreams that you have. Okay.
And Patrick, when you sent the email out, didn't you include the long-range planning agenda attached? So the board has that to start with?
As Edmund said, I just included the actual strategic plan from 2016.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And in that, the first several paragraphs about a mission statement are really wonderful. I think we can make it's provocative for us, and it helps to helps us to come up with tracks and specifics, but we're not worried about specifics at the moment. These are wish lists, dream lists. Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thanks. Anybody have questions for Edmund? No?
No.
Okay.
Give me a buzz anytime.
Yeah. Helen, do you have anything for personnel and policy?
No, as you might recall, we had a meeting before our last board meeting and took
Right.
care of the issues that were on the table. And there currently aren't any issues, although personnel and policy would like to wish all the staff good health.
Yes. Great. Since Gerald isn't here for budget and finance, unless somebody else has something, I don't think there's going to be a committee report on that. And Aaron is not here, so unless somebody has something for building and grounds that I'm unaware of, I don't think we have a committee report for that. No? Okay. Is there any old business that we need to go over? New business?
No.
Okay, can I have a motion then to adjourn the meeting? Unless I don't want to rush anybody if there are things that people want to talk about.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome,
Thank
Cindy.
you, Joan.
Thank you.
Hey, Cindy.
Great meeting.
Bye. I
Thank
would
you.
love to see all of you in
Thank you, John.
person one day.
We'll be masked. I won't recognize you.
That's right.
See you all. Big,
All right.
big,
Thank you all.
good reading. Good reading.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Zerwitz?
Cindy and Kathleen, thank you for everything as always. Patrick, thank you for everything
Thank
as
you.
always.
Thank you, Joan,
If you need us for anything,
on this board. Yeah.
you need anything.
How do I get
call
sworn
us.
in?
You just talk to Lorette Reese, the city clerk. She'll be able to do that for you.
Okay, I'll take care of that.
Okay, and then do you, Cindy Zerwas, do you want to meet with Joan and I on a Zoom meeting sometime soon, just to talk about the board responsibilities?
That would be great. That
Okay.
would be great. Thank you. At your convenience, of course.
Okay.
And
Do you have
Cindy,
Um,
what days?
Cindy, might you send out an updated roster and contact information for our board?
Yeah,
include-
we'll get
Yes.
Ms. Zerwas's information and send it out. And like Joan mentioned, we'll do it on a colored, well, I guess it's.
Oh, it doesn't have to be.
Out colored paper than it is to send it
It
out.
was the thing in my desk drawer that identified it was the one. And when I went looking in my desk drawer the other day and there was no green paper, I'm like, where's my roster? What did I do with my roster? So it doesn't have to be on green paper. I can print on my own printer. It's
And
fine.
it is on colored paper, so we'll try that.
Oh, Patrick, don't worry. I mean, you guys got enough to worry about than me keeping track of paperwork in my desk.
Gee whiz.
Yeah, I wouldn't make you don't worry about it.
Okay.
Not a big
We'll
deal.
get the information out though.
Thanks.
Okay.
See you all
Yeah,
around.
and,
All right.
Bye-bye.
so new Cindy, and we're gonna have to find a way.
Right. We're gonna have to figure that out.
You can call me Cindy Z if that's easier.
We can do
Yeah,
Cindy Z, that would work.
Cindy
Well,
D and Cindy Z. Yeah, right.
It would make more sense to call me Cindy D because most of the time nobody talks to me in the meeting.
It's a good point.
I mean, because
No,
I'm
it's
just
true.
observing. I'm not participating.
It's true.
So it would make more sense to call her Cindy and
And you
call me
Cindy
something
D.
else.
Oh,
Either way.
You hashed it out and let me know. I'll forget.
yeah, so just get with Patrick. I do work full-time during the day, so